Hello guys, welcome to Banter Blitz, a Saturday edition. If you're wondering why, because the normal schedule is Thursday, but from now on, in the nearest future at least, it will be more like a rule than an exception. So I'm going to do my banters on Saturdays. If you want to know the reason why, actually go to the Training Tuesday, the last episode, which happened 2 hours ago, actually. It was broadcasted also as an exception, but now it becomes a rule for some time. So, in brief, actually, I found a job and I actually had to rent a room in Cologne, and internet there is just awful. So I made a decision that I will be broadcasting on weekends, normally on Saturdays. So just I wanted to inform you if you feel like the time is not so good. I mean, you can suggest another time as well. Just send me a private message. I will collect different opinions about the better time to start my streams, and then we will decide. Maybe we will actually reschedule this one as well. All right. For now, let's just get to the challenges. Let's see if we have some. Yeah, we do have some already. And I'm going to search for somebody I've never played before. Not a single game, I mean. And if we do have somebody like that, I will start exactly with that person. Yeah, I think the guy from United States we have never played before, except the challenge. And I'm playing with black pieces, so it's been a hard week for me. I mean, new job, new people, new tasks. So I'm really tired, exhausted even. But I will try my best to play good games and also explain the things. Alright, so d4, knight f6, c4, knight c3, and bishop b4 leads to Nito Indian defense. Queen c2, classic line, castles. And e3. That is interesting. Absolutely playable, but I'm not sure that it's the best. So normally white tries to develop the bishop to g5 before playing e3 move. But that's okay. Maybe we will have another system with sort of transposition. So b6, bishop b7 to control e4, because the idea of white was just to play bishop d3 and then to play e4, I suppose. But maybe e4 is possible now. Maybe I didn't do anything to prevent it, actually, because after bishop takes c3, it's always possible to recapture with the pawn. Although it's not like the main idea behind queen to c2 move. Because normally if you play queen c2, you want to recapture with the queen to avoid the damage of the pawn structure. Alright, so let's undermine the d4 just in advance to prevent e4. Okay, let's take it. And queen takes. Alright, makes sense. I'm going to try something that is very, very risky. So I'm damaging the pawn structure and now create this pressure in the center. But the risk is that the g file is open now and white has pair of bishops. This may be a problem. But I have some sort of advantage in development at the moment. So I'm just capturing on d4, hoping for queen takes d4. In that case, I play knight c6 with a tempo. Then I may use e5 square. White decided to take with the pawn, but in this case, the pawn structure is really bad for white. So now I think I can just take on c4. You can see the isolated pawn on d4. It's already a big problem for white, I guess. I'm just attacking it right away. And there also should be a problem with white's pieces now because they're quite vulnerable. Let me think how to use it. So let's say rook c8, bishop a6 is not very cool. Probably just knight to e7 with the idea of knight to d5. Also pretty typical idea in this type of positions. So I'm going to blockade d4, an isolated pawn. And if white captures on d5, I recapture with the knight. So feels good. Oh, castling there, but yeah, castling the other side was probably also too risky because of the open c file, but I think white could have tried just leaving the king in the center and use the g file. Because now, I think my position is simply better. So yeah, white has pair of bishops, but the pawn structure is just awful, and, you know, my knights having so many pretty good-looking strong points should be just better than opponent's bishops. I don't see great perspectives for white's bishops at all. So queen d6, preparing some like rook to d8, also controlling f4 square. And yeah, maybe intending to occupy that square with the knight at some point. For now though, what's the best move? Probably just knight to f4. I mean, why not? Attacking the queen, which protects the bishop. If white doesn't take on f4, I may try knight f6 to d5, and I will have, you know, the same solid control over the center and other squares, but with slightly more active knight f6, which is on d5, and another one on f4. But okay, white decided to capture. Position is being simplified. You may ask, why did I actually exchanged my great knight d5 for that seemingly bad bishop on e3? Well, actually that bishop was very important in the sense of protecting isolated pawn. Now without that bishop, I have better chances to win that pawn eventually. So let's try to do that. Queen to e3. Okay. If I take the queen, obviously I improve opponent's pawn structure. It would be a mistake. But if I want to go away with the queen, what should be the square? h4 still controlling g5, or just go into d6 attacking a3? I think in that case white may think of a sacrifice of that pawn a3 because it's not a very important unit. But queen g5 can be quite annoying because of rook g1 coming, attacking g7, attacking my knight on f6. So I guess I should rather make this move, leaving the queen around g5 square. Don't know. Looks okay. The next stage should be some like knight to d5, but I'm not sure. Especially if white plays rook to g1 now. If I play knight d5, there is queen to e5, which looks a bit annoying. I still have a resource. I mean, I can play queen to h6, covering my g7. I can also try just g6. I think it should be safe. Yeah, so probably after rook g1, I just play knight e5. I mean, I don't think it's really dangerous. Right, I decided to play rook d2. It's a bit passive, so let's get to d5. And obviously with the rook, now I have an additional idea of just bringing it to h5, which should be pretty powerful. Attacking h2, so white should do something about it. Otherwise it will be just a checkmate. Okay. b4, alright. So what to do after this move? I mean, I don't see a defense. Come on. Looks like it's over now. Yeah. Okay, thanks for the game. What was your mistake? First of all, after queen c2, e3, and b6, bishop d3, and here you could have tried this move. I mean, if I take on c3, you just take with the pawn, and you have very strong pawn center here. So, I mean, this position is still playable for black, but I have a feeling that b6 was not the right reaction to e3. Probably I should have started with the c5 move. Yeah, that looked much better compared to b6, bishop b7, because now you cannot really play e4 that easily because your d4 is constantly hanging So you have to make a decision here, either to take on c5, which actually destroys your center already, or support it with pieces like knight f3 and then continuing with the development. But it's another story already. So I made this inaccuracy b6 followed by bishop b7. You could have played e4. Another thing is that after knight f3, c5 takes, and d5, I guess you could have tried just taking on c5. Yeah, maybe just taking on c5, and after this move, something like this. Yeah, I know it's risky, but you prepare the development of the bishop to much better position compared to d2 here. And you open the diagonal already, and you may play rook g1 pretty soon, and I may have some problems on dark squares because I have just exchanged my dark squared bishop. That's a problem for me. Maybe I can play something aggressive here, but I'm not sure that I achieve anything with this. So you play queen c2, still have pretty solid position here. My c5 is under pressure already, and you can keep developing the pieces the same way, like bishop b2, castling long, then rook g1, doubling rooks if necessary, and just trying to attack my king. That's the point. So I damaged your pawn structure, but your compensation is that now g file is open. You have pair of bishops, so you have to play aggressive chess. After bishop d2, cd4, well, I think I'm already fine, especially after this transformation. You know, your pawn structure is ruined completely. Now your bishops are not so efficient. That's the problem, and you cannot really castle long after that because c file is open. All right, thank you for the game. Let's see if we have somebody I've never played before. Have a feeling that I've played at least one game against everyone. Nope, there's Chess Charlie from Belgium. Accept the challenge, obviously. So black pieces again. I think this is a never-ending story. So like, whenever I play banters, it's always the same. So I either play a lot of games with white pieces in a row or with black, but it's never like one game with white, one game with black. At least at the beginning of the show, it's always like that. All right, now the open game. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and Scotch. All right. By the way, what's going on with chat? I mean, I'm trying to refresh it, but I don't see comments. No one is commenting, although people are definitely watching and yeah, actually playing games and challenge and so on, but chat is just silent. I have a feeling that there is probably parallel things happening. So you probably watch another broadcast, and I don't even have to name it. Everyone knows what's going on nowadays at the top level. Okay, so let's focus on playing games then. Knight goes to c3. Alright, so let's put the queen on e6. Usually I play something like a5 being ready for white's b3 move. But I guess the way I played here is also possible. Just bishop b4, developing the bishop already, pinning the knight, and intending to attack c4 with the bishop like this. But then b3 comes. I don't know. So let's play a5 with the idea of bishop a6. Probably it's already some sort of, wrong thing. So maybe I have already misplayed it, but let's see. So normally a3 is something that I want to provoke because after bishop a6, c4 is under attack, right? And now, since the pawn is already on a3, b3 is vulnerable, so I can attack that one with a4. That's the basic idea behind, developing the bishop to b4, actually asking white to play a3. But position remains complicated, so I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it's nothing. Interesting thing, if white plays queen e4 now, trying to play f5 against a takes b3, I may start with the f5 move. Also typical thing, because queen is not protected on e4, and hence after f5, white cannot capture en passant. which means I achieve what I want with the tempo. After queen b2, I think I can simply take, right? Yeah. Just captures on b3, and I don't see how to protect c4, so c4 drops. As simple as that. Now the question, how to capture? With the knight or with the bishop? I think with the bishop. Looks very natural. Just grabbing material and simplifying the things. The only question is here, should I exchange queens? Because it may be risky. Like queen c4, knight c4, then a4. And it is an outside passer. Moreover, it is a rook pawn, which is just a nightmare for the knight. But if I take with the knight, maybe there is a risk of just losing that piece. Maybe there is no risk of losing that piece. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this looks slightly more natural here. Castles. And here, maybe knight e3. Yeah, knight e3 looks great. Attacking the rook and the queen simultaneously, and also preventing f5. The only potential problem with this move is that white has queen b7, but then I castle, and I should have time to protect c7 if it is even necessary. Alright, in this case I wanted to take this way. Now fixing the pawn structure the right way, which is quite good for me. Also having time to probably just blockade the pawn on a3. It's a very important thing here, just to prevent any activity. Now knight goes to d5. Look at this knight. Attacking f4. Attacking the bishop on b4. And I think I win some material. Maybe I'm too optimistic. Don't know. We'll see. Now, after rook c4, what can I do? I can basically just play king f7. I don't see anything wrong with this move. And then bring another rook to a8. Yeah, that's how I'm going to play it. And this a3 pawn is going to be weakness, not a power. So now I have a threat of just taking the bishop. So one definitely has to go away with the rook from a1. Otherwise, I will win a lot of material. But where to go? That's another question. Probably rook b8 was a bit more accurate, actually, with a similar idea, but yeah. Okay, in this case, I just take. Come on. Winning the minor piece, right? This way. But it doesn't work. I mean, there is no compensation for missing minor piece whatsoever. Right? Yeah. Okay, now knight d5 simply. Rook takes c6 though. So what is the right move? Rook a2 check is also possible. Yeah, rook a2 looks good. I guess it's too risky for white to go to third rank because it may be just a linear checkmate or something close to that. So king to g1. Now I can play this move, simplifying the things. White's idea was just to bring another rook to d7 and start the attack against my king. After the exchange of this, rooks, yeah, there is no danger for me anymore. All right. Okay, let's try this check. Okay, this is too passive, I guess. Let's bring the knight to active position. And just checkmate. Okay, so I was pretty lucky at the very end and at the beginning as well. So what gave me a chance to demonstrate this idea with attacking b3. I want to show you one more moment here when I played a4. I mean, right after this move, I thought, well, my first impression was like queen e4 was very interesting, but then I noticed f5. I mean, the idea behind this move is that if I take here, there's f5 with the absolutely unclear position because white has so powerful pawns here. Centralization is very impressive and pair of bishops after all right? So I don't know, maybe I'm just worse here, but I have an intermediate move f5 here. So I'm playing f5 myself, blockading f4, preventing f4, f5, attacking the queen, and it's basically the same. thing. So I just take b3 next move and then take c4, winning the pawn, destroying white's pawn structure on the queen side, and just benefiting from it. I guess a3 is not the right move. So instead of doing that, it was better just to castle, let's say, or to play b3 in advance. I mean, many people just castle here. Another interesting move is queen e4, preparing f5. I'm not sure that the way I played it was correct, because I usually don't play this line with queen e6. Okay, anyway, thanks for the game. So probably one more guy I've never played before. Let's have a look if we have anyone. At least one game against everyone. No, here is Zen Chess. Except a pretty strong opponent, 2500s. So I have to be very careful here. Okay, let's play e5 anyway. Bishop c4. So Italian. No, this line with d4, I suppose. No, d3. So Italian after all. Okay. So typical way of developing pieces. Castling. h3. All right. Everything is according to classics. So what should we do here? One of the options is just to play bishop e6. I think it's okay. So since white decided not to hide that bishop on c2, it's almost always a good idea just to exchange it. Because why not, after all? And here, I think this move is all right. Yeah, because after a5 and bishop a7, there is no immediate b5 move. And this is okay. Let's just take. Now queen e8. Protecting e6 in advance, also controlling b5 indirectly, and preparing knight to h5 and knight to f4. So Chess Charlie says, thank you for the game, Andrey. You're really famous. I took a big pleasure to play against you and learn how to play better in the end of the opening. Well, thank you very much for these words. I hope it helped. So knight goes to h5 now. No problems with that, because knight h5 is protected with a queen. I mean, no tricks with knight e5 or knight e4, knight h4, nothing. So that's the basic idea behind queen e8. Another one is just to bring the queen to more active position after queen g6 in the future. g3, all right. It weakens the position slightly, but the question is if I have any chance to use it somehow. What if I play queen g6? Knight jumps to h4 then. It's not very cool for me. Because then queen goes to g4 with the temple. What can be the other idea? Maybe just d5, or it's too aggressive. Am I ready for this activity even? I'm not sure. Like, it may backfire, I guess. So better strategy is just to go back with the knight, I think, because f4 is covered, right? There is no much work there anymore. And then I can bring my queen to g6, hide on h7. If there is knight h4, play rook f7, rook f8, and then use the f file. Or at least try to use it. Another potential idea is like to play d5, and then after ed5, surprisingly take with the knight, kind of having super ugly pawns, but dynamically it may work just fine. Attacking the rook and c3, let's say. For example, now, what if d5? I'm just curious. So d5, ed5 is definitely not so good because of knight e5 and then c3 is heading. And it makes sense because I prevent knight to c4, which was probably the idea behind knight a3. I also agree this rate of d4 because b4 pawn is protected by c3. With the help of d4, I kind of get rid of that pawn. This may be a problem for white. Talas is here. Hello. Also, interesting thing, after queen e8, I'm ready to play rook d8, which may be very logical after I played d5. So let's see how it goes. Queen to b3, protecting c3, so white starts thinking about taking on d5. What if I just bring my queen to h5? Is it good or bad? Or is it just nothing? There are some tricks after that, I think. It definitely looks tempting. I don't think I'm ready for d4 right now. cd4, or maybe even just moving the rook away. Don't know. So let's put my queen on h5. Everything is under control still. So maybe just queen h5, rook f7, rook f8, this sort of thing. Gradually increasing pressure on the king side, especially after queen b3, so queen went away. And king side looks a bit abandoned. All right. This way. Did I miss something? I don't know. Well, what if I just take with the knight? What to do with the knight f3? What's the idea? Just to sacrifice an exchange or something? I don't know. Let's see. It feels like everything's heading now. h3, knight f3, rook e3, so. What is white going to do here? Just resign. Alright. So that was definitely a blunder. I guess it was possible to play this. I mean, I can try to deflect the rook, but it's not so clear. For example, queen takes there, goes there, takes. Yeah, it's clear it's not possible to take the knight now because of queen takes f3. But first of all, there's something like g4. Yeah, and I think it's just good enough. Yeah, so this idea doesn't work immediately. So as I said, I wanted to play this move, followed by rook f8, and then maybe after that, doing something. But white always has some prophylactic moves like knight to g1 even, protecting h3 and being ready to meet anything. In this case, though, at some point I may think of playing d4. Position is rather complicated. How to improve that stuff? Well, maybe after bishop b3 and bishop takes d3, it was interesting to take with a pawn. In which case we have almost completely symmetrical pawn structure, but white has some space on the queen side. Yeah, the chat is kind of quiet. That's true. The chat is dead. All right. Let's go on. Wow, knight 90s here. I want to accept this challenge immediately. I mean, we haven't played for ages. And I think we've played like only once during... No, we've played a lot of games in the past, but not so many in last... How many years? I don't remember. So, let's try this stuff. It's pretty risky. I mean, most likely I will be just smashed after that. But let's try to survive it. Oh, d4. Well, actually I expected e5 and then d4. Because this one is pretty much a good version of what? Of, yeah, like Taimanov or something. So here, let's just play this move. Now, what if I just go this way? It's a risky position for black, not for white. White has pair of bishops and potentially great control over dark squares. So black has to place his pieces in a very accurate way. want to start with queen a5 move. Not that I'm attacking this c3, I'm just controlling c5. I wanted to prevent c4, c5 move. Potentially, I may consider playing c5 even and d6, but it's kind of, yeah, kind of tricky now. I think queen a5 is a mistake. Okay, let's see how it works. So I misplayed it. Yeah, so bishop g5 is exactly what I was afraid of. It's a very strong move. Alright, so now I think I have to start putting my pieces on dark squares. It's really important to control dark squares. Otherwise, without a dark squared bishop, it may be just a catastrophe. Oh, right. I didn't expect that move, actually, because in this case, I think I'm pretty safe now. Obviously, I didn't want to castle here. I wanted to keep my king in the center. And I thought it would be just okay for me. Like this. So everything is protected. c4 is under attack. Take c5. So what's the best move here? Again, I kind of missed this queen g5 check, but I don't think it's a big problem. So let's just take this way. So queen g5, king d7, and feels like my bishop is pretty cool here, protecting most important things, right? And white's bishop is quite passive for now, at least. So I'm going just to play rook g8, most likely. Now rook g6, another one to g8. Of course, yeah. Here's another problem from the other side. Gosh. Yeah, I'm just missing opponent's moves here in this game. It's pretty bad sign. I have to focus somehow, but probably it's not enough. Okay. So what to do now? Rook f7 is a threat. Oh gosh. This is pretty harsh. So after rook b1, rook takes b1, and rook to c8, at least I'm not losing immediately. So maybe I can survive there. But I think I have to play that. Now rook c8. It's very risky for black now. Yeah, somehow forgot about the b file completely. That's yeah. That's a bad thing. Okay, but now at least I have some time. Can I do something active like queen e3? It looks pretty tempting to bring the queen to super active position. Attacking that bishop. Just pretty poor guy. And maybe even take one of the pawns. Maybe it will be possible. I don't know. Okay. So now, my first intention was to take on c3, but now I think that it's better for me to start with king to c7 just to forget about this threat of rook to b7 and coordinate my pieces a bit better. Right? So now my rook can be more active. My rook can go to b8 just to simplify the things, and if queen goes... Okay, here's e7 square. Shit. That's fantastic. I mean, I don't deserve winning this game for sure. I don't even deserve a draw in this game because I'm just missing opponent's resources, move by move. Okay, but I'm still alive, at least. Queen e1, yeah. Pretty good. But then I can probably hope for some nice counterplay in this ending. Let's go there. Centralize the king as soon as possible. King on c5 will be very, very active. c4 will most likely drop. Unless white plays something like, I don't know, rook to b4. And now, what's the best move? Just rook d8 and then takes on c4, I suppose. Yeah. Material is important here. Yeah, white has this passer, but it should take a lot of time. A lot of moves to make it really dangerous. Well, I'm dominating the center now. So I can take c4 if there is an exchange. I take with the king. My king is very active. c3 will be a problem. Well, I don't know. Maybe queen e1 was not correct. I have no idea. Yeah, but let's focus now. All right. Let's just go back. Because I think this bishop is quite good compared to opponent's one. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have just, you know. Well, we'll see. I have no idea what's going on here. Aha, this way. What if I just attack this pawn? Alright. Bringing it into another good position and connecting my pawns now. Yeah, I guess this position looks good for now. Gonna play c4, d3 this way. Maybe rook g7 was better, I don't know. Not so much time on my clock. Anyway. This way. Now I think I should play this move for sure. And go for it. Yeah. Maybe that was wrong, but no, it's not possible. Oh gosh. Damn it. It's a problem. But here's this nice tactics. Okay, now we're winning. Now we're winning. Wow, it was so... yeah. This game just blew my mind. It was so risky. I mean, I missed one move after another and I was going to lose this game. So what I did wrong, I think that, well, to start with, queen a5 was pretty bad. I have a feeling that after bishop g5 and d6, white had super strong move queen f3. Instead of taking the knight on f6 immediately, I think that queen f3 was much stronger. Because I don't know what to do after that. I don't see a good square for my knight. Oh, there is one. Just d7. Again, I missed that completely. But it may be too slow. That's what I mean. So, for example, what if something like queen g3, then immediately f4? Forgetting about this shit on c3. I mean, it doesn't matter. And just f4 quickly. Maybe I'm overestimating white's chances here. Who knows? But even what happened was quite annoying. Probably I should have played queen c5 immediately here. But then king h1 and nothing is being changed. I mean, it's still the same position, still the same pattern. Maybe here just taking with a queen was a bit better. But again, white has so many different open files to cause a problem. I've got no idea. So fe5 looked so good, but then this rook to b1. Maybe I've chosen the wrong rook to go there. Let's say if I play with this rook, and for example, white tries to do the same like in the game, I think there is a big difference because after this and this, my rook is no longer hanging on h8 and I can play king c7 immediately, saving a valuable tempo, right? So, like, yeah, just rook b8 is coming, queen e3 is coming, and now I do have real counterplay. Let's say if, okay, the same thing, right? Queen f6 instead of taking that pawn. And I kind of have to play this stupid move. And then what can stop me from even getting to e3 square? Well, at least I prevent the worst, right? So my king is more or less safe now. I'm blockading most important pawns, preventing the opening of the position. Yeah, so it should be pretty balanced, I guess. And in the long run, maybe I'm even slightly better. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting game. Thank you very much, my friend, for this experience. Now, let's go to the normal order of challenges. So, Rui 1561, accept. And white pieces, finally. I mean, it was a good time. It was a good moment to change colors a bit. So bishop b5 now. Bishop c5, so classic variation, right? I don't know how to play it. I don't remember. It's better to say I don't remember because it's true. There was a time I've learned some theory here, but I have no idea. Not anymore. What's going on here? So, I guess he takes d5 as possible. Then, like this move. Looks not so good for white. Like passive, right? Queen e2 check was probably interesting. Maybe even taking on d5 is already a mistake. I don't remember the lines here. So there are so many different options, like close the position with the e5, simply castle, sacrificing some material for some time. It's hard to say which one is correct. Okay, after queen e7, I've just noticed that I have knight to e5, but I have to be very careful. So if I play knight e5 and bishop takes on c3, for example, b takes c3 and f6, can I save my minor piece there? Maybe it's just lost immediately. Yeah, maybe just lost. So yeah, let's just exchange queens, I guess. Let's just exchange queens. So I still have some sort of advantage in development. It's really like tiny, but it is still here. I mean, and now we can notice that the situation in the center slightly improved for me. But my opponent has very good bishop potentially, so if I put my king on d3, that would be just perfect for me. There is bishop f5. That's kind of a problem. Yeah, it's definitely not very pleasant. So what should I do now? Like just rook to e1 and hide on f1. It's not very inspiring, but maybe I don't have anything better than that. So let's do it. Let's just do it. And it's just going away, damaging the pawn structure, but having a pair of bishops and some hopes to complicate the things. So 2 bishops against 2 knights, and my pawn structure is definitely not ideal. Black should be happy with this position, I guess. But now, what happens if I just take on e8, then play c4, and then d5? just knight b6, I guess. And then after d5, a6. And then unclear, but let's try it. So c4, knight b6, d5, a6, captures on c6, captures on b5, captures on b5. I have a pawn up. It will be very hard for me to convert it though. But I think it's anyway at least something, right? Better than nothing. Maybe this pawn will drop soon, but as a result, I will have this outside passer again on the rook file, which should be good for me and very bad for the knight potentially. It's going to be a problem for black for sure. So let's hope for the best. I think knight should go away now, because knight c6 is pinned. There are no tricks like knight takes d4. And now we play d5. Again, knight c6 cannot move, so a6 is pretty much forced. I don't see any other move, to be honest. So a6. Do I miss something? I don't think so. So I probably have to take on c6 with the pawn. Pawn takes b5, and then if I take on b7, black captures on c4, and I'm afraid that b7 will drop very soon, so after a b5 I will just capture on b5. Oh, that is interesting. I didn't see that move just because after taking on c6, rook d2, what's going on? So rook d2 takes b7 is perfect, but probably after d takes c6, b6 is planned. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good for black. What if we start with bishop g5? There is f6. All right. D takes c6, b takes c6. What if I just play bishop f4 now instead of all that? Just bishop f4. Knight goes like to d4, I suppose. Bishop takes c7 after that. Rook goes to c8. Takes on b6 if necessary, maybe just d6. Yeah, it's still extra material, so let's go for it. And potentially very annoying passer. It's much clearer than anything like bishop g5. Too many hanging pieces there for both sides. Don't like it. I mean, for that type of position, you should have more time on the clock just to calculate everything carefully. I don't have it. I have only 1 minute. I have to play faster now. Okay, so let's capture this pawn. I wanted just to play d6 after all. Straightforward. Aggression. Yeah, let's just take, why not? Extra pawn now. And pretty cool one on d6. So we have different ideas here, including just rook e1, rook e7. After rook e1, there will be a threat of just taking the knight and then d7. So anyway, I think this file should be occupied. Was it correct? I don't know. Yeah, unfortunately my king is on f1. So black may play rook e8 now if he wants. Yeah. With the king not on the first rank, I could have played d7, tactical trick, and then bishop d6 check and rook takes e8. But after d7 now, there is simply rook e1 check. What should I do? Just bring the rook to e4, I think. If rook takes e4, then pawn takes e4. I still have chances. And after this move, I can even keep my rook on the board if I want. Do I want it? I mean, yeah, why not? That was just a bad move. Okay, let's finally capture this one. And do something active. Like this. Oops. Oops. That was strange. But okay, interesting game. Black missed this idea with c4, d5, I suppose. So position was pretty solid, I thought. But then the c4 and d5 actually changed everything. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think rook e8 was too optimistic. I would have started with something like knight b6 here, probably, or maybe a6. Maybe it wouldn't have captured on f3, I have no idea. Hello, Kramnik student. I'm happy you found some time to join the show. Pretty interesting here. Like, yeah, this position is quite bad for black, but I didn't find a convincing way to win it. Maybe I should have played some like a4, a5, b6 even. I don't know, but something else, because after rook e1, unfortunately there is no direct win. I don't see it at least. Or maybe rook e3 was better. Look. In this case, the idea is very similar to rook e4. The only difference is that black doesn't have this f5 with the tempo. And if, for example, black plays something like knight d5, attacking my rook, I guess I have d7, right? Yeah. This should be winning, so takes. And then d8 with the extra minor piece. Yeah. Rook e3. Rook e3 was correct. Right, so knight c7 doesn't change a thing because we just take on the 8. Extra exchange. No, it's not extra exchange, by the way. We win a queen here. So we take with the rook and then just promote the pawn. That's correct thing to do. Yeah, so knight e5 is impossible, so probably black is forced to play this move. But this is a much better version of what happened in our game. Now I have this trick. I can bring my rook to a3, attacking a7. That's another weakness and potentially a huge problem for black. Yeah, it's still far from winning the game, but yeah, it's definitely better compared to what I've done during the game. All right, thank you very much. Next one, accept. Toke Madita. No idea how to pronounce that correctly, so sorry if I mispronounced that. Knight f3, knight c6. d3. Okay. So it's like Philidor reversed with the extra tempo for white. Well, also playable thing. Why not? Let's play g6 line. And d5 then. Yeah, Chronic Student says, incredibly lazy chat today. You guys are probably distracted with other events. I think that's the reason why this is happening. So, white created so many weaknesses here. I mean, it's just so simple to use them now. And rook on a1 is hanging, so it's just extra something. Either minor piece or rook. So it's definitely not how it should be played. One has to be very careful opening the position when some weaknesses were already made. So to d5, the best strategy is just to, overprotect e4, waiting for black to capture there. Now it's just over. I mean, I'm a minor piece up. There is no compensation whatsoever. And here we go. 94. Hard to make a decision in such a situation. Because after bishop takes f3, we still have this amazing knight on d4. Should be winning. After knight f3, gf3, we can win a pawn. I mean, let's go this way. Why not, right? Just a whole pawn. In addition to extra minor piece. Not that I needed this extra material. Additional one, I mean. But still. Okay, now bishop f5, controlling e4. Queen g5 was not possible because if bishop takes g5, so there were no immediate checkmate. But that's fine. We'll find a way to win this game, I think. Even if it is not a checkmate, I don't care. Andrey prefers the bishop over the centralized knight. Nope. I just prefer the pawn. Winning a pawn to centralized knight. Which was pretty greedy, I know, but doesn't matter. In this particular case, it just doesn't matter at all. So many extra units I have. Bishop c7, alright. Okay. Centralization. So now I have a centralized bishop. What can be better than that? If we talk about my preferences. Alright, so white is just blundering everything here. That's the main reason why he's going to lose this game. Alright, one more. How much? How much more material I'm going to take here? Yeah, let's go for centralization. Pay attention, all my pieces are on light squares here, not accessible for opponent's bishop. Alright, here I should prevent king g5, so let's do that and put the pawn on the dark square. Oh, come on. So let's come back to the center. I mean, I don't really understand why my opponent is playing this game still. It's kind of pretty clear that I'm not going to lose this on time or something. Because I have 3 minutes here, alright? It's really hard to blunder or something, so we're just wasting the time. Really. Right, let's think. I mean, every move wins. Even rook d2 wins, but okay, let's just protect the pawn. Then play h3, h2, h1. Should be just a checkmate by force. Pay attention, king cannot even go to b1 to attack my rook. Okay. Thank you for the game. So it was pretty clear that the mistake came here. Yeah. When you play b4, you basically, grabbed some space here. No questions. It's not bad. It's good, actually. But you weaken c3, so that's something that you have to protect now, or at least to be careful about it. And taking on d5 in such a situation only helps me attack that pawn. I mean, e5 is not a catastrophe itself, but after knight takes d5, you obviously had to protect that pawn. Knight e4 may not help because I can play f5. But there you have some tricks, typical ones, by the way. So queen b3, and if I take the knight, you recapture with the pawn, you attack my knight on d5, and you win it back because queen pins the knight now, because of the king on g8. So it gives you some time, and as you can see, c3 is protected, which means you can just step back with the knight somewhere, maybe even go to c5. I don't know, this position requires some additional analysis. But c3 is all right for some time. The better way to protect it is probably bishop b2. It's kind of safer, but after knight to f4, I mean, black is better. So the best thing you can do here is just queen to c2, I suppose. The easiest reaction. Just overprotect e4, or maybe just protect b4 here with a3, because I may want to play d4 at some point. Now everything is, pretty solid. I mean, no danger, and you can continue with the development and gradual improvement of your position, just like in the Hanem variation in Philidor, but reversed, more or less. I mean, okay. Next one is Mike Goring. Let's go. Here we are with black pieces again. My God, I'm so tired of black pieces. I mean, today, like 90% of games are with black pieces. G3, D5. Okay, it's gonna be Catalan. Castles. Waiting for c4 to play c6, overprotecting d5. That's what I usually play. And you know what? Recently, my results have been not very satisfying. Well, at least in Blitz games, really. It's just a lack of form, I think. So, it's like the entry position for the Catalan, for the closed Catalan. So there are different approaches, different possibilities, different orders of moves, so on. Okay. So normally you have a choice between, bishop a6 and bishop b7. And since white didn't create any concrete threat in the center, I mean e4, I think it was a good idea to spend a move on a5, because after that bishop on a6 feels much more comfortable compared to just moving to a6 there. It's not critical for this particular case, I suppose. But anyway, pleasant fact. All right, let's just increase the pressure in the center. The next move should be something like rook to c8. And then we're going to attack c4. That's the target. actually trying to force white to do something like cd5, giving up the central pawn. Yeah, let's see. It's not going to be easy. It's never easy in close Catalan, but we'll try. This is definitely strange because from, well, similarly active position, queen now gets to pretty passive one. Well, let's just, no, it's not so simple. So I wanted just to take on d4 and take on c4, but hell, I don't know if it is good for me even. Should be not bad actually, but let's start with this move. Yeah, so the pawn structure is pretty interesting now. I mean, white obviously has a weakness on c4, but I also have sort of vulnerable pawn on b6. So whose weakness is actually more relevant? That's the question now. I want to try one trick. So bishop b4. Not that it's only a trick, I mean it's a useful move, but knight c6 is the question here. I wanted just to take it and play knight b8, and if I'm not wrong, I'm just getting 2 minor pieces for the rook at the end of the line. White decided to put the bishop on a3. Alright. Now there should be a problem after knight e5 because I attack c4, I attack d4, and I control c6, so looks like a good position for black. At least there are no problems anymore. I have more time on the clock, which is also pretty pleasant. Take some b4 because my rook was hanging on f8. That's the reason. Now I can take on c4, right? Just takes on c4, takes on c4, rook takes c4. Is it good for me? I cannot be bad. Yeah, let's just do it. It's a tempo move. I don't see anything wrong with this. Let's remove rook to c4. Because I think that is what white is going to play anyway. Yeah, I was right. Alright, simplification. So I'm a pawn up now, right? So simplification should be good for me in general. In this particular case, I don't know, but also doesn't feel like it's something wrong for me. Okay, let's just take it. Again, simplifying the position further. Not just g5. Rook to d2. Just activating everything. So when I put another one on c2 and just start capturing everything on the second rank. Oh, this is too risky, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So what went wrong here and when? I think everything was all right until... Yeah, I guess a4 was not needed. Just put the knight on c3, let's say. It's just okay. But then I have this bishop a6. Yeah, basically, I would recommend you to fight for e4 square as soon as possible. So just try to develop your knight to c3 or d2, creating sort of e4, because it's much more challenging thing for black. Let's say here in this position, I would have tried something like this for sure. Or maybe knight d2 even. Safer, right? Because I don't have a counter attack against c4. Now you're going to play e4 next move. And how, I don't know. Yeah, maybe something typical like bishop a6, rook c8, just ignoring e4, but yeah, white will have a strong center as a result. Because if you play like this, you give me lots of chances, and what's more important, you give me a lot of time, because I'm developing my pieces on natural squares, and you're doing basically nothing here. So queen to d1 was definitely a mistake. I guess if you wanted to go away with the queen, you should have chosen something like this, much more active square. Yeah. Maybe it would have been the same in the sense of pawn structure. Yeah, here after taking on d4, I have additional resource. This knight to c5 tempo move. All right. Yeah, don't know. So probably this a4. I don't like this move actually. All right, let's have a look at this interesting moment when white could have played this move. So my idea was to take, and then to play knight to b8, attacking the bishop and the knight on d2 simultaneously. And if bishop captures here, I wanted to take this way because it's obviously forced. I mean, if I want to take on f6 to start with. Because if I take with the queen, knight is no longer hanging. But even that was possible, probably, because of rook d8. But okay, I think it's much clearer. So yeah, bishop is hanging, what to do? If it goes away, I just take on d2. Maybe that was your best chance, I don't know. Like this. I take, you take. Alright, I can take there, let's say. But who knows? It's gonna be not so simple for me to convert it because my knight is so stupid. And yeah, as long as you control the d file and d7 square, it will be just a nightmare for me. So maybe the whole idea was wrong. Of course, I'm not forced to take with the queen. I can take with the bishop here. This is much stronger probably. But then there may be just the same problem after some moves. So probably I have to do something like queen d5, then rook to d8. But position is complicated. I mean, it's hard to make the final conclusion here. All right. Thank you for the game. Anyway, Spectre is the next. Let's play. e4. Okay. White pieces. Pretty cool. And Sicilian. Finally, something funny. Yeah. Just knight c3. So what I usually play here, I play f4. I challenge you for a 3-minute game. Is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. The only problem is just in general is a quantity of challenges. That's it. And so I'm just playing one by one now. Starting with the earliest and finishing with the latest. Andrey, do you think Magnus will reach 2900s? Maybe. I have no idea. I think he has all the possibilities to do that. Let me remember. Just bishop e3, I suppose. That's how it's played. Then castling. And then g4, g5 checkmate. Something like that. Bishop e7. Alright. Can I play knight b5? Not sure. Let's just play g4. Knight e4 responsible, followed by e5, but I'm going to actually take with the rook, and after e5 play rook c4. I've had very similar pattern in one of my tournament games, but it was with a6 instead of bishop d7, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't remember. So that led to very complicated play, and yeah, position was balanced, but quite interesting. I thought of knight b5, but then queen b8. So what's the follow-up? Don't know. So g4 looks much more logical here, especially after bishop d7 move, which grabs d7 square from the knight. So black has sort of problem now. Yeah, knight e4 finally. Takes with a rook. Oh, simply bishop to c6. Yeah, it's also a method. Also a method. Let's go. Decided to go away from this diagonal, a8 h1, because it's pretty stuffed with my pieces. Oh, castling there. That is something that I didn't expect for sure. It will be harder for me to attack now. Maybe there is no attack anymore at all. Can be also the case. It's interesting, if I jump with the knight to b5 now, there is queen a5 and there is a threat of queen e1. Not necessarily a checkmate, but black definitely starts doing something active and meaningful. What to do here now? a7 is definitely not protected, but black is ready to play a6. Should I play just rook c4 with the idea of knight b5 and knight d5 actually? e5. I don't know. Let's put the rook on c4. Should be dangerous for black at least. Should look dangerous. And against this, I thought I can play knight b5. Let's calculate at least. So knight b5, attacking the queen. Queen b8 looks like the only move protecting a7. And then, well, at least that queen will be quite passive. I don't want to take that knight, to be completely honest. So maybe just rook c3. Yeah, I mean, why not? Saving, or it's better to say keeping all good pieces on the board, right? Yep. Bishop to h3 maybe. Alright, knight a4 drops the pawn on a7, so I can take it. Question is how? With the bishop or with the knight? I think with the bishop. Yeah, with the bishop. And now, rook to a3, or just leaving that rook where it is at the moment. Rook to a3 looks like decisive. No. Rook a3, bishop b5, queen a7. I missed that. My rook on g1 is hanging. Wow, that's a problem. So I cannot go there. But I can play rook c4 now, right? Then that goes to c5. Position is just a complete hell. I mean, it's so unusual. Didn't see that coming. But maybe it's fine after all. Yeah, let's play there. For queen a7, after all, we can just go away with the rook from g1, which was hanging in that line. In this line, nothing is hanging. I'm just taking that. And then knight on a4 was attacked twice and pinned, so probably I could have regained the material. So this position is completely lost for black. It's clear. So extra material, and there is a threat of queen c3 with a checkmate. So I don't know how black is going to save it. Probably there is no way to do that. Yeah, it's going to be completely lost. All right. Let's just give this check. All right. So the last chance here was just to apply what? Bishop takes b5. Bishop takes b5. Queen takes a7. Attacking my rook. That's the problem. So I cannot immediately take on a4. But I thought I would play something like this, and knight a4 will drop anyway. So it's going to be very good position for white, 100%, because extra pawn, opposite colored bishops, which means, well, the one who starts the attack actually benefits enormously, and I think I'm going to start the attack here. Yeah, but it was the last chance in this situation. Everything else is just very bad. Yeah, and as I said during the opening stage, I think a6 is much more interesting compared to bishop d7. Bishop d7 is not the right place for the bishop in this particular case. Okay, so one more, I guess. Nikola Stoizin or Stoizin. Okay, again, sorry for mispronouncing your nicknames. Yeah, the last game for today. Last game for today. And again, a quick reminder, in the nearest future, my banters will be on Saturdays around this time, so you can suggest another time if you want. I mean, on Saturday. I'm going to collect some opinions and maybe to change that in the future. So it's a temporal thing, but I don't know how long it will take. Maybe 1 month, maybe several months, like 2, 3, maybe even more. The same is about training Tuesdays, so for some time they will become training Saturdays. Yeah, and for now, I'm thinking of some sort of this structure, like training Tuesday first, then Banter Blitz. So 2 shows within 1 day. That's what I can do. The only thing is the time. So when do you want me to start? So in this game we have Ruy Lopez, Smyslov system. The idea is typical. So we just overprotect e5, we prepare the maneuver of bishop f8, then g6, bishop g7. At some point when we feel ready, we can take on d4. Another plan is to actually be active on the queen side with a c7, c5 undermining the center. Right, let's go there. And undermine the center. Now it starts looking more like Najdorf. Alright? Yeah. That's why it's so important, actually, to have knowledge, not only within your opening repertoire, but, you know, as wide as possible. Okay, let's bring the bishop to e6. So it's a strange version of Najdorf, like without the knight on c3, but instead the pawn. But still, ideas are similar. So c4 square, this minority attack, almost all the same. So let's go there. Maybe it's just too much, I don't know. Normally, I tend not to play a5 until I'm ready. Alright. Yeah, this is slightly annoying. So after taking on d5, my knight doesn't have a good square to go away. So let's play this move. Just prepare an e7 for it. So now I have sort of threat of taking on d5 and playing knight to e7, and yeah, d5 is hard to protect. If knight takes f6, then queen takes f6. I'm fine with that completely. So I'm gradually developing my pieces. Yeah, I know my bishop on f8 is not so good, but in neither type of pawn structure, this bishop is usually used to cover d6 weakness. Right, a3, alright. What's going on here? I'm just taking the knight. And go here. That's what we're playing. Oh, right, bishop b3. Okay, I missed that move completely. I'm probably too tired already. And if rook c5, then bishop to e3. Well, pretty nice. Okay, but what if I just maneuver my queen to attack that pawn like this? Queen b6 and queen b7. Is there still a defense for white? Don't know. Maybe I'm going to win a pawn pretty soon. So, here we go. Question, do you know how to report somebody for harassment and insults? Unfortunately, I don't. I'm sorry. Sorry for that. But I think the community can help you, because it's definitely not the first episode of that, right? So Crown Students has right to support. So Crown Student, you can probably provide Philomato with the email. Queen e2. Okay, so what if I just take on d5? Hey Cobra, I'm sorry that you came a bit late, so I'm actually playing the last game. But I understand that it's not according to the normal schedule. So no worries. And now, probably just d5, right? Looks pretty cool. We're a pawn up now, and I'm going to activate my dark squared bishop, which was so bad for so long time. Alright, it's time to make it great again. Now let's bring it to c5. Oh, it's probably a stupid idea. Yeah, bishop c5 is just bad. And that's a mistake, actually. Probably not a critical one, but still a mistake. Yeah, boy. Correct. So now we have play knight e4, which was planned. White has rook takes e4 followed by knight f5. And this is like, you know, pretty strong. Well, at least at first glance. Yeah, it's strong indeed. So I have to do something else. Knight h5 maybe. But then queen g4, so how does it help? Queen to d7, just rook takes e5. Yeah, I'm just losing a lot of things I had before that. Alright, I have some chances to counterattack f2 anyway. So let's just prevent knight f5 because it's probably the main threat. And here I'm just taking there. Playing rook e8. There's a shred of rook e2. Pretty strong. And knight e4 as well. So probably I'm still better here in this game. But yeah, was a necessary mistake here. So bishop c5 was just too much. Instead, I could have tried something like g6, I think, with the idea of bishop g7. Also not very stable structure, but at least, you know, much more solid than after bishop c5 and queen g3. Okay, so what went wrong? I mean, this plan with the knight d5 were not very promising. After I played a5, I think you could have tried the attack against b5 because this is a, you know, the main problem with the early a5. b5 becomes weak, and yeah, queen e2 or something, or a bishop to d3. I don't know, something like that can be recommended here. Okay, Bobby Covington asks, can I play you? I guess you're not a premium user, and the rule is I play only against premium users within Banter Blitz shows. And in general, it was my last game, as I said. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being with me. I hope you learned something new after this episode. If you did, I'm happy. That's the primary goal of my banters and other shows as well. So see you in 1 week. As I said, the plan is to provide you with both shows on Saturdays. If you have any concrete suggestions about the time, just write me a private message. Wish you all the best and hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.